In 3102 BC, the war finally comes to an end and the field is covered with the bodies of the fallen soldiers. A warrior known as Ashwatthama gathers all his power and shoots it at the princess to try to kill her unborn child. At that moment the legendary Lord Krishna appears and scolds him for his actions, so Ashwatthama tries attacking him. However, Krishna easily overpowers him and punishes Ashwatthama by removing the divine gem from his forehead, cursing him to be immortal inside a rotting body. His redemption will only come when he protects the woman carrying the god Vishnu's 10th reincarnation. 6,000 years pass and it's now 2898 AD. After decades of wars and pollution, the world is a post-apocalyptic nightmare. Kashi is the last standing city, ruled by a totalitarian 200-year-old god king called Yaskin. He lives in the complex, an inverted megastructure that hovers above the city and extracts the planet's resources to provide for the rich. Any person that can pay 1 million units gets to live in luxury in that gated community while the city suffers in poverty. When a truck arrives bringing a bunch of prisoners, a guard scans all the women to check if they're fertile. Even if they're little girls, every fertile woman is taken to the complex to be used in Project K, an experiment that wants to lengthen Yaskin's life with a serum made from artificially inseminated fetuses. However, no woman has ever survived more than 120 days of pregnancy. When a father protests because his daughter is being taken away, the guards just strike him down. A boy tries asking for money in exchange for another girl, but when he turns around Raya is already running away. Suddenly she's caught by Rumi, who takes her to a secret spot where he reunites with the rebels from the hidden city of Shambhala. There they meet a pregnant woman named Divya and Rumi uses a special stone to test her womb, however it doesn't light up, which means her baby isn't Vishnu's reincarnation. At that moment they're attacked by the guards known as raiders, who descend from the ceiling and quickly open fire. In the struggle, the stone falls and breaks, so Raya picks up the inner piece. While the rebels drag Raya away, Rumi kills a raider with his staff and tries rescuing Divya, but they're both captured. Moments later the duo is taken to the complex, where Rumi is attacked by a big beast. Commander Manas stops the animal and threatens to kill Divya if Rumi doesn't tell him Shambhala is. Divya points out she'll be killed either way, so Rumi shouldn't talk, and Manas shoots her on the spot. Rumi tries to give a speech about the wrath of the gods, however Manas shoots him to kill him too. Meanwhile the raiders chase after the remaining rebels and a shootout ensues on the streets. When the raiders surround Luke and open fire, their shots are blocked by an AI car named Bujji and her driver the bounty hunter Bhairava, who falls asleep as soon as he makes his big entrance. When the raiders tease him with more money if he fights, Bhairava plays some music on his boots, does a few dancing moves, and throws a small explosive that makes the raiders fall. However, it's just a light trick and the angry men shoot him, only for Bhairava to disappear because he's just a hologram. It starts reappearing at various spots, causing the raiders to attack each when they try to get him. When the real Bhairava finally shows up, he breaks a man's special suit which sends him flying against a bridge. The last standing raider hits Bujji, so Bhairava punches him so hard the guy flies through a building. More raiders appear on the bridge and capture Luke with a rope, so Bhairava uses his special boots to make a big jump and kick the raiders off the bridge. One of the soldiers quickly climbs back and starts fighting Bhairava while a second raider arrives to help. Together they grab Bhairava and push him through a wall, landing inside a movie den. Bhairava grabs a VR helmet and puts it on a raider to keep him distracted, and when the other enemy attacks again, Bhairava dodges him so the raiders hit each other instead. He fights both soldiers again on the bridge and easily brings them down, however even more raiders keep on arriving. Tired of fighting, Bhairava throws a special punch to defeat them all at the same time. Two men hold on him as he falls, but Bhairava uses them to land and knocks them out. Afterward Bhairava asks the group leader for his payment and notices a holy symbol hanging off his belt. Meanwhile in the complex, the captured women go through a boring routine of healthy yet boring food and being locked up all day long. Manas comes to observe the insemination progress, which consists of painfully injecting the women through their bellies. The lead scientist Yuri explains none of them ever survive the first few months, so Manas orders him to take the serum now without caring if it's too soon. One of the pregnant women is put inside a machine and a mechanical tentacle connects to the band on her stomach to extract the serum, which instantly kills her. Her body is thrown into the incinerator while Yuri takes the bottle with the serum before going with Manas to see the king. Counselor Bani controls a huge statue that carries the men into the royal chambers, where they give Yaskin the serum. He immediately injects it into his body and at first he falls, but soon he raises up again and announces that serum had been poisoned. He immediately grabs Yuri, who reveals a knife in his sleeve and stabs the king in the chest. However, Yaskin isn't even tickled and feeds Yuri his tears, which immediately kill him. Then Yaskin orders Bani and Manas to find a woman who can carry the serum long enough to develop it well. In the women's chambers, maid Sumathi is still shaking after seeing that woman die. She checks her own belly, revealing she's been pregnant for over 120 days, but she keeps it secret. Another maid called Lal sees her and wants to tell the scientists, but Sumathi convinces her to wait. Unfortunately, the scientists announce that all the maids will be tested again and Lal sends a guard after Sumathi anyway. When Manas learns about her advanced pregnancy, he immediately orders an extraction. Back to Bhairava, he uses his bounty money to buy a real egg, which are rare. Luke asks him to join his team, but he refuses because he thinks there are no good people in war. He shares the story of how he was a war orphan and was adopted by a soldier, who taught him how to fight, gamble, pilot, and fix machines. One day the man tried selling a young Bhairava to the complex, but Bhairava betrayed him first and sold the soldier to the guards. At that moment Bhairava is surrounded by men who want him to pay his debts. They're interrupted by Roxy, who quickly knocks the men out before asking for her money too. She ends up fighting Bhairava as he keeps flirting with her, but she gets tired of his lies and leaves. Bhairava follows her to swear he loves her, and even though Roxy doesn't believe him, she agrees to take him to the complex. Sometime later Roxy uses her limited work permit to register Bhairava as a visitor for 60 minutes. They enter the complex and Roxy starts her shift in the generator room, however Bhairava drags her away to the beautiful area where the rich people live. Here they enjoy fresh fruit, ride horses, and see the ocean for the first time. There's a drone guarding the area so they have to constantly keep moving. At night, they crash a fancy party where they eat good food and teach the people how to dance in a carefree way. Unfortunately Bhairava accidentally causes a statue to fall and soon he's surrounded by guards, who kick him out. In the meantime Bonnie is called to the desert where his workers have found a legendary bow buried in the sand. At the same time Raya is being chased by a raider and robot, so she escapes from the city and reaches the desert. As she tries to hide from the enemies, she falls into a hole in the sand and ends up in a mysterious cavern. The robot is still coming after her, so she follows the corridor to hide inside an old chamber. Unfortunately the robot finds her anyway and grabs her by the leg to throw her against a column. Suddenly an old man comes out of the shadows and the robot shoots him, but it doesn't cause damage. The old man hits the robot with his staff to destroy it while Raya passes out. Later Raya wakes up and sees the old man is bleeding, but he isn't bothered. She tries chatting with him and notices he uses an old version of their language. Raya asks him to join the rebels but he refuses, saying he only can fight for one person. In the complex, Sumathi is put inside the machine and the mechanical tentacle connects to her stomach. However, this causes the power to start failing and triggers an alarm. Bonnie checks on the bow and when he tries to grab it, a surge of power sends him flying. At the same time the old man in the cave has a powerful vision and Raya's stone starts glowing. The man grabs it and puts it on his forehead, confirming this is older Ashwatthama. The power malfunction causes Sumathi to be ejected from the machine, but when she's sliding down toward the incinerator, she's grabbed and rescued by Lyle. It turns out she did all this to help Sumathi escape because she's an undercover rebel. The women start climbing through the tunnel network, where they're found by two guards. Lyle jumps on one of them to push him off the bridge and throws the other one through the door, holding it closed while Sumathi escapes through a tunnel. She makes it out of the lab but when she tries to take a step, she activates a trap that triggers some flamethrowers. More guards are coming, so Sumathi holds her pregnant belly and walks through the flames without getting hurt. The guards try to follow her but they're burned down, and Sumathi collapses when she finally makes it to the other side. By the time Manas arrives, the rebels have already taken Sumathi away. In town, some lightning hits a building and the resulting flames break a piece of the wall off. Bhairava catches it before it can crush people, revealing a religious symbol on the other side that starts glowing. In the morning Manas goes to see Bonnie, who shows him the legendary bow made by the gods. A machine tries to grab it, but the bow's power immediately destroys it. Back to Sumathi, she wakes up inside a rebel's vehicle and learns they're taking her to Shambhala. Suddenly the vehicle is stopped by raiders so the rebels pretend they're just random scavengers. A guard insists on checking the back and at first he thinks it's empty, but soon he realizes it's a hologram. The rebels come out and quickly kill both raiders, but an alert has already been sent so they need to leave quickly. The alert is received by Bhairava, who immediately heads into the desert to hunt down the rebels for the bounty. Another raider finds them first, so rebel Kira releases a hoverbike and rides it to appear behind the enemy vehicle. She drops a small bomb and jumps away before it explodes, killing the raider. Unfortunately more raiders soon appear and chase after the rebel vehicle, so a gunfight ensues. Kira tries speeding up to catch up to them, but she crashes and her hoverbike is destroyed. A raider manages to jump inside the rebel car and knocks Aju out, but before he can hurt Sumathi, Kira jumps on the raider car and swings in to fight the guy. A hand-to-hand fight begins and after a few hits, Kira manages to push the man off her car. However, the raider uses rope to catch Kira's leg and tries to drag her out too. Sumathi catches her just in time and Aju comes to help, but Kira says goodbye and lets go of their hands. When she's close enough to the raider car, she causes an explosion to bring them down and dies in the process. Minutes later Bhairava also arrives, but he's being followed by a collector who wants his money back. The man keeps pushing his car against Bhairava's, so Bujji transforms into an aircraft to get away faster. Sadly she malfunctions and they crash, so she has to become a car again. Meanwhile a bunch of drones follow the rebels, who open fire to bring them down. One of the drones crashes against a huge statue and breaks its hand, which falls and blocks the road. The raiders surround the rebel car and shoot down Aju, but before they can do more Raya appears with Ashwatthama. The soldiers open fire, however their shots can't hurt Ashwatthama, who jumps in and starts fighting them. His strength allows him to bend the weapons and pick up all the raiders at the same time, defeating him in seconds. Once all the enemies are down, Ashwatthama kneels in front of Sumathi because she's carrying the god's next reincarnation. At that moment another raider fires at them and Ashwatthama rips off a piece of metal to use as a shield. As more raiders arrive, Bhairava also shows up and quickly brings all of them down in just a matter of minutes. Then Ashwatthama grabs him and throws him on the ground, so Bhairava uses his hologram device to create copies of himself. At first they effectively distract Ashwatthama, who soon catches on and uses his power to find the real Bhairava. Ashwatthama easily overpowers him and barely moves to win the fight, so Bhairava takes out special handcuffs to capture Ashwatthama's hands. A furious Ashwatthama hits Bhairava with them before making them explode with his power, then the fight starts again. Bhairava is easily overpowered once more and when Ashwatthama is about to kill him, he gets hit by Bujji. The car tries hitting him a second time, however Ashwatthama stops her with his foot and quickly destroys her. Bhairava jumps on a pillar to make a piece of bridge collapse on Ashwatthama, who simply raises through the debris. Next Bhairava tries catching Ashwatthama with some chains, only for the old man to use them to bring down the building they're standing on and finally defeat Bhairava for good. The news of Ashwatthama's return soon reached the complex and Bani concludes the prophecy comes true. If they don't kill Sumathi's baby before the eclipse, Yaskin will be in great danger. Sometime later, the rebels return to Shambhala and they have to teach Ashwatthama that these guards are on his side. Some rebels don't believe that Sumathi is the chosen mother, but at that moment it starts raining after decades of dry weather. This is seen as a sign and the rebels hit the gong to announce the prophecy is happening. Sumathi is treated like a queen and all the elders share their blessings. In the desert, Bhairava wakes up and is surrounded by guards, who announce he's blacklisted and permanently ban him from the complex. He returns to his apartment ready to give up on life, but Luke offers to vouch for him and get him into Shambhala. Bhairava agrees while a flashback reveals he's acting. In the desert, he actually made a deal with Manas. If he captures Sumathi, he'll be allowed to enter the complex again. Now he starts working on fixing and improving Bujji to leave with Luke. In Shambhala, they start a ritual to celebrate their culture and say goodbye to their fallen warriors. Suddenly Sumathi has a vision that shows tons of dead bodies around her, which makes her doubt her presence there. Raya asks Ashwatthama about the old war, so he explains he lost to the prince with the holy bow but was saved by his brother Karna, the original owner of the staff. Afterward Ashwatthama notices that Sumathi is trying to leave because she thinks she's putting everyone here in danger. He gives a speech about responsibilities, convincing her to stay. Soon Luke and Bhairava arrive at the Shambhala while riding Bujji. Luke tells the guards not to shoot, so Bhairava uses the chance to quickly knock them all out. Ashwatthama senses danger and tries to leave with Sumathi, only to find the bridge blocked by a copy of himself. Both men start fighting and at first they appear to be equals, but soon Ashwatthama knocks the other guy down and brings down the hologram to reveal Bhairava. Sumathi tries running away, so Bhairava dodges Ashwatthama's staff and tries to grab her. Ashwatthama quickly rescues and throws Bhairava off the bridge, however he quickly recovers thanks to his hover boots. As Ashwatthama catches him and throws him on the ground to destroy the boots, Bujji appears with open fire. Ashwatthama uses his power to make her explode and throws Bhairava into the flames, but Bujji transforms into a robot suit that protects Bhairava from the fire. As the guards arrive to help Ashwatthama, a bunch of aircrafts appear in the sky led by Manas. Bhairava jumps on Ashwatthama with his huge metal fists and for a few seconds they're stuck grabbing each other, yet this time Bujji is stronger and throws Ashwatthama off. Bhairava then tries to make his way out only for Ashwatthama to rise through the ground and pull the robot off the bridge. Manas soldiers invade Shambhala, where the rebel guards are gathering with their weapons. The city's force field is stopping the fire coming from the aircrafts, so Manas activates a stronger laser beam that finally brings the field down. As the soldiers rush in, the rebels activate a shockwave cannon that shuts down the enemy aircrafts that get too close, causing them to crash on the ground. A battle begins between both armies, but it's clear that the rebels have hoverbikes and shields that gives them an advantage. On the street, people are running to find cover. Some falling debris is about to crush some women, but they're protected by Bhairava and Bujji. Ashwatthama appears nearby and Bhairava shoots his flamethrower, however Ashwatthama uses a big manhole lid as a shield until the flames die off. Then Ashwatthama jumps on top of Bujji, so Bhairava uses the mechanical arms to throw him off. When he tries to shoot again, he discovers that Ashwatthama took Bujji's generator. Using some fabric, Ashwatthama quickly ties up all of Bujji's limbs and jumps to make her fall. On the main battlefield, Manas shoots the laser beam again, causing great damage to the city. More aircraft with soldiers keep arriving and opening fire, overpowering the rebels regardless of their shields. While Sumathi is put inside an aircraft to escape, the rebel leader Miriam makes a big jump and uses energy whips to bring down an enemy ship. When she turns around, she's shocked to see Sumathi is still there and tries contacting the aircraft. Unfortunately at that moment the aircraft is blown up by Manas and the explosion causes Miriam to fall. Sumathi tries running, but Manas throws a mechanical harness at her to capture her and make her float toward him. A rebel drone flies up and takes Sumathi away while Miriam jumps on the enemy ship to bring down a guard. She then whips Manas' face and he shoots to disarm her, so she picks a guard's spear to attack again. Manas overpowers her and throws her back to stab her, killing her. Then the drone is shot and Sumathi falls, but Ashwatthama catches her right at the edge of the bridge. Before he can bring her up, her hand slips and she falls again. However, Bhairava appears and catches Sumathi while Ashwatthama grabs him by the legs. Ashwatthama brings them back to the bridge and punches Bhairava, knocking him out. From the sky more enemy harnesses fall and this time they trap Ashwatthama, tying him to the ground. Manas lands too and slaps Sumathi to knock her out before taking her to his ship. Ashwatthama yells in frustration while the holy tree burns in the middle of the city. A little leaf falls off and lands on Ashwatthama's staff, causing it to fall into Bhairava's hand. Suddenly the staff starts burning and wakes Bhairava up, revealing he's the reincarnation of Ashwatthama's brother Karna. With the staff's power unlocked, he starts shooting flames at the aircraft, and when one tries to hit him, he stops it with just his hand and throws it back. Then he uses the staff to stop all the enemy fire and keeps on kicking or punching the aircraft away from the bridge. Ashwatthama keeps on remembering the last fight of the old war as Manas charges the cannon and Bhairava jumps to block it with the staff, which he then uses to kill Manas at last. His power is causing the aircraft to crumble, so he picks up Sumathi and gets off right before the ship crashes. As the bridge crumbles too, Bhairava's transformation ends and he's back to normal without realizing what happened. He jumps back into Bujji to escape with Sumathi, so Ashwatthama breaks the harnesses to stop the vehicle. After some struggling, Bujji activates her extra power and they get to fly away. Once again, Ashwatthama remembers the day his brother Karna saved him during the war from the prince's attack. Lord Krishna had told the prince to back off because Karna was too powerful, and one day he would make history. At the complex, Bonnie gives Yaskin the only drop of serum they managed to get from Sumathi before she escaped. Yaskin injects it into his body and immediately can feel a new power, making him young again. Then he grabs the bow without getting hurt. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.